Welcome back to another episode. So today I want to talk about closing calls, getting them on the schedule, getting the maximized price as possible. So I want to go back to my first initial time when I sold, which was door-to-door sales. I sold pest control, and starting out, well, first of all, I will never do that again. But when you're in college and you're desperate and you'll do anything, door-to-door sales might be an option for you. So anyway, I started door-to-door sales for my brother's pest control company, and the year before I was a tech, so I would be the one, servicing the homes, and I kind of got to see the sales guys and listen to them kind of do their pitch on the doors, how they sold and did their soft closes and their hard closes, and kind of study their body language and just how they do that. So the next year I decided to just dive right in, and I think the first week we came out to Kansas City area. At the time it was like April, but it was really cold still, and so we were just knocking doors at like 40-degree weather with like a ton of humidity and wind chill and people yelling at you, and just you're just trying to just get through the trenches of door-to-door sales. It's a whole different game. But anyway, so it's kind of like, I don't know if any of you are military veterans, but I've never served in the military, but I can only imagine that first time going to boot camp or like getting out in the field, like with that initial like shock of just what the heck is going on? Like, what am I doing? So that's kind of what I felt. I was just cast off into these neighborhoods, knocking on these doors and just not having a clue what I was doing. So I just anyway, or it's kind of like getting in a really cold swimming pool. It's really cold and it's like you're really freezing, but then you get used to it. So you just have to do it. So once you get through that initial first few doors and rejection and all that kind of stuff, then it's not as bad. But anyway, over time, because that summer, it was the summer of 2008, I bought a new Toyota Corolla, which at the time I was trying to get a used one, but you can't even buy one if you don't have credit. You can't finance a used car, so you have to buy a new one. It doesn't make sense, but that's kind of what happened. I had to get a cosigner and buy a new one or whatever. So I was just really trying to figure out how to pay off that car and that summer, and pay for college the next year and all that kind of stuff. So I kind of just had no choice but to just go all in on the doors. And so that first summer, I just put my head down and I just did it. I just did the best I could. Try to talk to as many people as possible, and even if I wasn't doing it the right way, I ended up selling, I think, well, you sell a certain amount, but then the accounts that actually go through is less. But I think I sold 200, but then 160 went through that summer, which I guess for a first year that's not too bad. The top dog sales guys were, doing 400, 500 accounts in a summer. But anyway, what I'm getting at is I learned a lot about sales that summer, and that transitioned. I had no idea, but 15 years later with what I'm doing now, just how to talk to customers on the phone. So compared to door-to-door sales, if you compare that to what you're doing over the phone with junk removal, oh man, it is so much easier first of all, you're getting inbound calls, people like actually wanting to get the job done. So if you can get inbound calls for sales, it is so much easier. They're already wanting to do something. You don't have to like convince them or pressure them into anything. So that's way nice. And so I guess this past year I guess I was doing it wrong. I wasn't doing it right, but I was still closing the sales. And so this year I'm trying to change it up. So last year they would call and I would just have them, send a picture so I can give them an estimate, and then I would, say, hey, it's going to be in this range. Thanks for sending the picture. And then they would either say yes or no. But then guess what? They're going to go, price shop around, and then a percentage of those calls are not going to go through because they found somebody cheaper. And there's always going to be somebody cheaper that can beat the price on whatever you quote them. So what I'm doing now instead is I am just asking them 3 questions. Hold on, let me make sure I pass this truck real quick. Okay, so what I'm asking them is, all right, what do you have? What items do you have? And what's your location? And how soon do you need to get this done? So if I can get them to answer those 3 questions and then add in some rapport building conversation. So if there's something interesting or funny that you can talk about, then go for that. But just answer those 3 questions, and then don't even go into price. Just say, all right, well, I'll be able to come take a look and give you a quote. And then stop talking. Wait for them to be like, okay. So I just did that today with 2 calls. So I have 2 appointments where I can go and just show up and give them a quote without they have no idea how much the job's going to be, but you give them the opportunity to be like, hey, we're going to come, and if you like the price, we'll go ahead and load it up right then, and if you don't like it, that's not a problem either. We can just go on our way. And then for that takes the pressure off them, but you close the appointment. So that's the key. If you can get them to commit, like, hey, let's get your address. So once you talk to them for 5-10 minutes, then they're committed. They gave you the address, they gave you the information, and once everything's done, they're not going to want to call another person, especially if they have no idea how much it's going to be. And so that's how I do it now, and I'm just starting this year to implement that approach with booking the jobs. I should have probably done that from the very beginning, because I know that that's going to increase my profits because the first hurdle is getting that appointment. So that's the first part. And what I love is I just got decals put on this new truck that I have, and I could tell you right now, like I was showing up this new truck without decals, and it was fine, it was okay. But then you put the decals on, and you show up, and these moms, like, they have this huge smile on their face, like just the energy, just like you can just tell they just love what the service that they called. You can just tell it makes them feel really good about what they're getting. So make sure you got decals, really big, as big as you can get on your vehicle or trailer. Look professional, wear your hats and t-shirts and polos or whatever. And another thing that I have is my Clover Flex machine. Thanks, Andrew Thompson. If you want to, I went through him to get one for free. I don't know if they're still free, but reach out to him if you're looking to get one. And so you get there, and they see this amazing truck. They see like you just, how do you say no to that? You know what I mean? So you get there, and you build rapport, talk to them, as much as you can. Be friendly. Don't go into the price right away. Just take a look around, see what they got. Talk about how the Chiefs aren't doing or doing. I'm just kidding. Or talk about how the weather, how cold it is right now, or the weekend, what's going on. Whatever you can do. Just, chit chat a little bit. And then you can, give them the price, and make sure it's a price that you're comfortable with, that you're willing to do, and hopefully it's profitable. And if they're not, and if they're, you can kind of tell like, either like, oh wow, that's kind of a lot, or okay, most cases they'll be like, okay, yeah, let's do it, because they feel you've built trust with them. But if for whatever reason they say, oh, that's a little much, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And then you can overcome objections and try to build the value and say, hey, you know what, I'll give you a curbside discount, whatever. Just try to knock it down a little bit for them. Like, hey, like, we're already out here, let's just discount a little bit, and then we'll get you taken care of. So that's kind of, just building the value. But if you can just book that appointment without giving out a price, I know a lot of companies do that now. So I just should have just jumped on board with that from the beginning. I just didn't, because I was afraid driving 40 minutes to an appointment, not having everything secured. I kind of wanted to like count on knowing the sale, like it's the appointment is solid, but it's still solid. Like, it's just a different way to do it. So that's what I'm doing now. But okay, so going back to the Clover Flex machine, I was doing like this little square card reader last year for the longest time, but oh man, the Clover Flex, you just put the price in there, and then you hand the machine over to them, and then in their face it's the option to tip you, and like 95, almost 100% of the time they're going to tip you, which is amazing. So you don't, and it's like a no-brainer, because without that thing it's kind of awkward, like, hey, can I have a tip, but if you just give it to them, they'll just hit the tip button, they'll tip you 10 to 25%, whatever they decide to do, and then you get some tips. So that's kind of what I'm doing now. I'm really trying to learn how to create kind of a workflow of just saying the same things to make the conversation smooth each time, so that when it comes time to hire a call center or help with phone calls, I will have kind of a system put together of scripts of what the call center can do to book the appointments. So that's what I got for sales. Hopefully that was valuable for you. That helped you out a little bit. And if you have any questions, or if you want to leave a comment or a review, that'd be great. And we'll see you on the next one.